about my lifestyle. I'm the new thing with a bright smile. Catch me when I'm out in public, always show them love, and I know they love it. Give you a reason to love me this season. I'm taking my chances, I hope it enhances my...
Alright, welcome to Romera Records Podcast. Today we have on, is it Dominic?
Yeah.
Dominic Middleton. How's it going, man?
Yeah, it's going good. Can't complain. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, so like as always, pretty much I just go on people's Instagram and just look up all your stuff. And I saw you had a lot of like comic stuff on there, and I was like, all right, this guy's probably pretty interesting. So I decided to pick you up. What's all that about?
So with me, I'm just a big comic book fan, big superhero fan in general. I'll just go ahead and put that out there. I'm also on a podcast that we call East Coast Avengers. It's me and 4 other guys, JT, Josh, Christian, and Darren. We just all get together at least once a week. We talk about all things comic-y, so Marvel, DC, and we even talk about Star Wars, Lord of the Rings. We just go all about nerdy things about that. And with how I got into comic books and superheroes, I believe my early introduction was Power Rangers when I was younger.
Oh man,
yeah,
I love Power Rangers.
And then which one? It was a Lightspeed Rescue. I still had the VHS tape. So that was my early introduction, and then got into the cartoon shows like Justice League, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and then what really got me into liking superheroes and getting into comic books was the Fantastic Four. I'm really a huge fan of the Fantastic Four. They're probably my favorite superhero team in the world. Yeah, I know that's
crazy.
That's rare.
I don't think I've ever heard anybody say that.
I know that's so rare, and so I'm one of the odd people that's get chosen out for stuff like that. But they just hold a special place in my heart because they were the ones who got me into Marvel. They were the ones who got me into comic books. So they really hold a special place in my heart. So I've just been a fan of comic books and superheroes for as long as I can remember.
That's awesome. So with the Fantastic Four, what makes you really into them specifically?
But specifically, it's because they're different from all other superhero teams. With Fantastic Four, they're a family first before they're a team, because they already have family members on the team with the Invisible Woman and the Human Torch. They're brothers and sisters, and then you have Invisible Woman marrying the Mr. Fantastic, and so that just became a whole family dynamic for them. And then of course, Miss Fantastic and Invisible Woman have their own children, and so they just became a really, really family-oriented superhero team, and that's what made me fall in love with them, and it really separates them from other superhero teams like the Justice League or the Avengers or the X-Men, because they have so many members with those teams right there, along with the Fantastic Four.
Just 4 people.
Those four people right there. Even though they do get replaced sometimes, they go on leave or wherever they have to deal with, but they just stay consistent with it.
One thing about that comic series was I always liked the Silver Surfer. Yeah. I have no idea why. I don't even remember who was the Silver Surfer.
So the Silver Surfer, if I get his history correct, he's mainly known as a herald of Galactus, the world planet eater. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. So he's mostly known for being his herald, but then he also has some of his own solo adventures that I can recall of at the moment. But he's been a really popular character over time too. And so there were rumors recently, I'm pretty sure they're just rumors, that they were going to try and make at least either a TV show or possibly a movie about him coming down the line. So we'll see what happens with that.
I bet that struck up after they made the Fantastic Four movies, and then they had brought in the Silver Surfer in those movies. Right. But I think there was some other movie that was kind of like that. They had brought in Spider-Man. Didn't they have Venom in a small scene, and then they made Venom? They just made the movie.
Yeah. So that was in the last Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man 3, that trilogy. So he had had a small part in that movie right there. And then of course Venom had his own movie that came out last year, which turned out to be really, really successful. And then they're on their way to making a sequel of that movie too.
Really? I actually haven't even seen the movie. Was it really that good?
It's good. I don't think it's that good as people say. But no, I enjoy. I actually watched it a couple of times, and it's pretty enjoyable.
That's legit. Okay. I know they screwed up the Hulk. I remember as a kid watching the Hulk, and I was like, "This is awful." I mean, when I was a kid, I thought it was awesome, but like watching it now, I'm like, "Man, they screwed that up." But they kept remaking those though. I thought that was pretty crazy.
Yeah, so I know, like, especially after the last Avengers movie that came out this past year, I know kind of a lot of people, I kind of put like negative opinions toward the Hulk. Now, I know I have my opinions about him, but I think overall he's still a great character. They just, didn't make him as. We just needed more Hulk instead of more Bruce Banner. I'll put it that way. Yeah, because there was a lot of Bruce Banner, not enough Hulk, in my opinion.
So maybe they just wanted like for somebody to relate to, like to create the more, I guess, personable aspect of the Hulk. That's pretty interesting. So you go to like Comic Cons and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, I just started getting into those like late last year, I want to say.
So what started you like? You just talking about comics isn't enough. I need to go to these things.
Yeah, so I always wanted to go to like the big ones like San Diego Comic Con and possibly New York, which I'll be going to this weekend. And so what got me into Comic Con, so I saw that we even have our own Comic Con here down in Memphis Comic Expo. Right, a lot of people do not know about that. So it's actually happening this month, October 19th and 20th. So it's on a Saturday and Sunday. So I went to that. My first one was in 2017, and so it's not a big Comic Con. It's definitely a small one, more intimate. Okay. It's definitely more tailored towards like artists and comic creators, which is fine. I actually like that. And going there in 2017, it was definitely a fun experience for me. I didn't dress up then because I was trying to get like a feel of it, so I just came there like as myself basically. And funny part was that I didn't even know that Walter E. Jones, the original Black Power Ranger, was there. And so when I saw him like sitting at his table, I was like, "Yo, that's Zach right there." That's Zach. I like grew up watching him.
No way.
And so like I went to go meet him. I got a picture with him and everything. I think I got like starstruck a little bit.
I don't think I would have even noticed. I mean, like recognized him.
No, he still looks exactly the same. He looks exactly like he did 20 plus years ago.
Jesus.
And so I went to go talk to him. He was basically probably one of the nicest people that I ever met.
That's awesome.
So I got a picture with him. We did like a little morphing sequence and whatnot. And I held his morphin too. It was pretty great. I gotta show you after.
Did he have like his original like morphin?
I want to say it was the original, or it's probably like an exact replica of it.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know which one it is, but I actually got to hold it. So I was like freaking out when I got to hold it.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So who else was there?
He was the main one there that year, and then this last year.
You said this is in Memphis, right?
Yeah, this is still in Memphis. So last year and this one coming up in a few weeks, Chris Claremont. He's a comic writer. He's basically known for writing the X-Men back in the 80s and possibly the 90s, I want to say. So he's a real big name when it comes to comic writing. So he's been responsible for some of the X-Men's biggest storylines to date, like Days of Future Past, when Shadowcat gets her mind transported back into her younger body to try to save, the mutant and human race from extinction from Sentinels. And then, of course, the Dark Phoenix saga when Jean Grey gets the Phoenix persona in her, and then she just goes crazy and whatnot and starts destroying planets and people. So he's mainly known for those two stories, and then also he created new characters within the X-Men. I know he created one of my favorite characters, Gambit. If you guys don't know who he is, he's called the Raging Cajun.
Gambit's always been one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, so he's always with the cars, and that's like his main weapon and everything. So I got to meet him last year, and he was pretty cool. He was pretty laid back. And then I think that's all people that I met at Memphis Comic Expo. And then Jerry King Lawler, he's always there every year.
Is he really?
He's there every year.
So that was something that I had no idea about. Gosh, what is it? So going down toward Germantown Parkway.
Right.
That restaurant and what's it called? It's like, I think it's Lawler or something. But I'm guessing it's his.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
restaurant.
it's his. Yeah.
And I was like, Jerry King Lawler.
Yeah, because I know he has his own restaurant on Bill Street.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I haven't been there. Yeah, I don't know why I haven't. Now I always said I wanted to go there.
I didn't know it was over there.
But yeah.
So there's one down toward if you're going down Germantown Parkway, going into Germantown.
Right.
There's one that's on your right. It's it's before Shelby Farms. You know where the butcher shop is.
Yeah.
So it's before the butcher shop, probably like 2 minutes or so before that. And I can't think of the name of it. I think it's like a barbecue place. That's what I want to say. It's like Lawler's or something. It might be called Lawler's. I don't know.
I think I know what you're talking about. It's right by the butcher shop. I know, like the restaurant, like colors is coming up.
Yeah,
in my
I think it's like red and yellow.
Yeah, it's like a red, yellow, red and white type of restaurant. I can't remember the name of it because I used to go down there. We'll go pass by almost all the time.
So is he from like the Memphis area, or?
I believe he is.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, so he's really, really big here in Memphis, and then he always, whenever we have wrestling night with the Grizzlies, he's always there. He's always like the main entertainment. He's always like the main guest.
Okay.
So he's really, really big here in Memphis.
That's crazy. So, is there like anybody else who's like really involved with stuff like that in the Memphis area? I know we literally just met, but I've just moved here in like April.
Okay.
So, gosh, what's that woman's name? She was in. Did you ever watch American Horror Story?
Yes.
So she was like the old. Oh, she was in charge of the circus.
Okay, I think that's probably one of the seasons that I skipped.
Dang, that was a good one. Like it started really slow.
With the circus, was it Freak Show?
Yeah, the Freak Show.
I skipped that season. I know, I need to. No,
so, it started really slow.
Uh-huh.
So at first you're gonna start watching and be like, okay, I skipped this for a reason. But then like I'd say probably 3 episodes in, I think there's only like maybe 10 or so episodes because they're like an hour long. But yeah, it gets really good. Like there's a lot of plot twists and stuff like that you would like, whoa, what's going on? So typical American Horror Story. But yeah, the woman that's in that one, gosh, what else did she play? I think she was in charge. Okay, did you see the one, the Insane Asylum?
Kathy Bates.
Yes, Kathy Bates.
She's a White Station alum. I remember that about her.
Oh, okay.
So yes. I remember they taught us that when I was an orientation guide at the University of Memphis. They're like, you need to mention like these celebrity names. They're actually from Memphis.
Oh.
So I was like, okay, I didn't know about Kathy Bates. So yeah, that was pretty cool to learn about that.
So for the podcast, I was trying to just like Google people who were from Memphis, and she popped up, and I actually contacted her, I guess like her management group, and I guess I was not in their price range. I was not popular enough for them, and they're like, well, thank you for contacting, but sorry. So I was like, oh, awesome. Yeah, I had no idea she was from Memphis, but I think she comes around and does certain stuff like speaks at certain events and stuff like that. Why did they want you to like mention like Memphis people then?
Because we try to teach. When I was an orientation guy, so our main duty was to show freshmen how to get used to coming into a new school, get used to their new environment, give tours around campus. So we just try to make freshmen feel comfortable whenever they come in and try to get ready for a new chapter in their life. Gotcha. And so we will always give like tours and stuff around campus and whatnot. And so we have this part in our tour where we say, we have these famous celebrities who are actually from Memphis. I think some of them actually attended the University of Memphis as well too. I can't think of them at the top of my head. But that's why we mentioned Memphis celebrities.
That's awesome. So is that what you do as like for a job? I don't even know what you do.
All right, so I just started this job a little over a month ago. I'll start from the beginning. So I was a University of Memphis student I attended from 2014 through 2019. I graduated with my bachelor's in sport and leisure management in December 2017, and just got my master's this past May in sport commerce. And so now I have a job with the University of Memphis. I work as the assistant coordinator of University Events and Special Projects. And what I do with that title is I help plan and coordinate and set up our big university events that we have. So
Nice.
we have like a board of trustees meeting, or like an event that involves like the president. That's something that I'm involved with.
Okay.
And so I'm involved with a little bit of athletics as well too, because I help them with our football games a lot, and then I'll be down in a couple of days to help them with Memphis Madness that's coming up on this Thursday as well. So you can say I kind of do a little bit of everything involved with events at the U of M. So yeah, it's a lot, but I love it. I love the people in my department, and it's a lot to learn, but I'm learning new stuff almost every day.
That's awesome. So how did you like get into that role? Did you just like, this is what I want to do, or?
So I knew for myself that I want to stay here in Memphis, and I would be fortunate enough if I could work for the University of Memphis. So after I graduated, I just started like applying for different jobs around Memphis, mainly for the University of Memphis. So I started applying like months, and then I saw this position come up, and one of my professors said, "Hey, this could probably be a good position for you," because she was always on the lookout for me. And so I looked at the job description. I said, "Okay, I get to work in external relations. We do a little bit with athletics, so that's kind of like right up my alley." And then when I looked up the department, I already knew like 5 or 6 people in that department. So it was like, okay, I actually know some of these people, so I hope that helps, give me the job and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then now I'm here today, fortunate enough and blessed enough to have this job that I have. So it's just been great, so far. So I really can't complain about it.
That's awesome. So what do you think is like the best part about the job, as far as, I guess like the people you work with? I saw you had pictures with like certain people like Money Baggio.
So that was one where I used to be in the band at Memphis too.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I've been a band kid ever since I was in middle school. I know I don't look like it, but I actually am. But so yeah, I've been involved with the band at U of M. Almost all of my college career, even in my graduate career. I thought I wouldn't have time, but I was like, I'll make some time for it a little bit.
Okay.
So yeah, so I got to meet like a whole bunch of different people, just by going to the University of Memphis and now actually working there as well too. So it's just been a fun ride so far.
That's awesome. So like, did you do band in high school, and then did you get a scholarship, or did you just?
Yeah, I did do band in high school. I went to Overton High School. That's mainly advertised as the Creative and Performing Arts School here in Memphis.
Is it like a private school?
No, it's a public school.
Oh, okay.
So it's located out in East Memphis off of Mount Moriah, Mendenhall, that area over there. And then I ended up getting a scholarship to go to the University of Memphis. At first I wanted to go to University of Tennessee in Knoxville. Thank God I didn't go there. I always say that. Because that was like a dream school for me. I was like, okay, I can get out of Memphis. I can be on my own somewhat when I go up there. And so I went to go audition for them. And they was like, you were one of our best auditions that we heard this year for the freshman incoming class. I was like, great. And then I didn't hear nothing back from them for a couple of weeks. And I was like, hey, what's going on?
That's crazy.
And then I was like, am I going to get a scholarship? Am I in the band? They was like, yeah, you can. You're in the band, but we can't give you a scholarship because you're not a music major. I was like, yo, what the hell? What did I do? And so I just kind of felt bad for myself for weeks and weeks, and then my band directors, they're like, why don't you try Memphis? You already know people over there. They know who you are. They know how you play. And so I was like, okay, I'll go try out for Memphis. So when I did my audition for them, I actually didn't have my music on me. So I forgot it at the house, but thankfully my jazz director, he was like, I heard your I heard your all-state audition tape, and you were probably the best person that I heard.
Damn.
And he was like, I'll go ahead and use that as your audition instead of, just, memorizing your music. I
That's
said,
crazy.
oh, okay. So I was like, are we done here? And he was like, yeah, go ahead. You're in the band. I'll try to figure out your scholarship for you. I was like, okay, I
That's
appreciate
wild.
it. So yeah, that's all that happened with me when it comes to music.
Sure. So, okay, so what do you play?
Saxophone.
Saxophone?
Yeah.
So for saxophone, do you need to know, like, how much music do you really know as far as, like, a broad spectrum? Like people who can say, like, they read music and stuff like that. Like,
So I've read a variety of music. With me as a musician, I know it's kind of weird and whatnot. I can't play by ear.
mm-hmm.
I always tell myself I have a bad ear, but my jazz director was like, no, you do have a good ear, you just don't realize. I was like, okay. So I'm always a good reader. I'm a great sight reader and whatnot. So I play like a variety of different musicians. So we always play from like Duke Ellington, Count Basie.
Make sure this
Johnny.
mic is like close to your.
Okay.
If you need to adjust it, you can go ahead.
Oh yeah, this is mine right here. So I know like John Philip Sousa, Louis Armstrong, just a variety of different jazz artists, a variety of classical artists. If you can name some, I probably played them in band at some point in my
That's
life.
wild.
So yeah.
So do you play like outside of like band stuff, or do you play with a group of people or anything like that?
Actually, I don't, but I kind of been thinking about it recently. I don't because my schedule is just so busy throughout the day. It's just like, I don't have time. I'm always tired after I get off work. I want to go home and take a nap and eat. So I always say I don't have the time, but like myself is always, I have to make the time for
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
So hopefully I can try to find something, later on in life. I pick up my saxophone sometimes just like play around the house or whatnot, just because I miss playing saxophone. I miss, being in the band too. So I do pick around and play with it sometimes.
I always wanted to like play some sort of instrument that was like saxophone or trumpet or something like that. I just thought they were cool.
Yeah, it's
Like,
never too late.
I really thought about picking up the harmonica.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know, something, it seemed like it was easy, like it was simple just because it's small, and I was like, that wouldn't be too bad to like, be a beginner, because I don't really know how to play an instrument for real. Like I can, like when I was little, I used to play the drums, but like I could just keep rhythm. Like I didn't really know what I was doing, but I could keep rhythm with whatever the beat was, and hit the hi-hats, hit the snare, hit the bass, and stuff like that. But I didn't really know what I was doing. And then now I've been like learning how to play piano. So I was in school for Full Sail University doing audio production, but I dropped out because it's time. Like I'm an automation technician at Owens Corning.
Okay.
And so basically I was like, I don't have time for this. So, and then plus they want you to go like really in depth. Like they want you to be like Beethoven when you get out of there. And I was like, I don't have time for that. I was just really doing it just to learn about music, just to learn what to do and everything. So when I decided to just stop doing it because I didn't have the time, and I remember some of the stuff. Any kind of files they gave us, like I would try to save them, and so I could look back at them. But music is a lot. It's a lot to know.
Yeah, it is, and thankfully I had like the skill to actually do it and actually learn some stuff and still kind of retain that information. So I know like if I pick up my saxophone again for something serious, like I'm doing a gig or whatnot, I know I'll be like a little rusty, but once I get back into it, I'll be good to go.
What else do you do like for the school and whatnot? Do you let's see, I saw you were doing something, I can't remember. Gosh, I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I've done a lot with the school because I was involved a lot, especially in my undergrad years. I was involved in different organizations. I was involved with our Sport Marketing Association, our St. Jude Up Till Dawn organization. What else? last college I learned, it was a lot that was involved. So I always like tired myself out, especially during like my sophomore and junior year. I kind of tired myself out, and then I did, of course, my internships. Most recently, I did 2 seasons with the All Zone Liberty Bowl. I don't know if you never heard of that. It's our college bowl game that we have here in Memphis.
Okay.
And last year we had Missouri and Oklahoma State, I believe. But I know the year before we actually had Memphis in the All Zone Liberty Bowl, which was the first time, they played in their home, their home city for a bowl game, and they went against Iowa State.
That's cheap. Got your own stadium for a bowl game? That's cheap.
A lot of Memphis players were upset, but the fan turned out to be good, for us, for our organization.
Exactly.
It's good for our organization, but kind of bad for like the players and the band and whatnot. Because I was in the band at that time, because I was like, okay, I want to travel, but I don't want to travel. At that time, so I was like basically like back and forth during that time with my organization and still being with the band at that point, because he had to do band stuff for I was on Liberty Bowl. So it was like, okay, I gotta go be with the band, and then once I'm done with that, I gotta go straight to work after that. So I did 2 seasons with them. I did an internship in Georgia, Kennesaw, Georgia, with the Georgia Games. I was there. What was my position? Open Masters, track and field coordinator. I worked with.
What is that?
So I was in charge of our Open Masters, which is basically 18 and up track and field event. So I basically had to go like market out to whole state of Georgia, help plan our event, get our stadium ready for it, just to help run like an actual sporting event. So that's what I kind of did with my position there. Of course, I had a few positions with the University of Memphis Athletic Department. I was their game day media intern. I was their marketing intern for a couple of years. Ticket sales intern for a year. What else? I think that's probably what I did with Memphis Athletics, and then worked with the Memphis Redbirds and had the opportunity to work our AAC tournament, our conference tournament, when it came here to Memphis this past year, and the NCAA tournament, Sweet 16 and Elite 8, when it came here a couple of years ago as well.
That's
so
awesome.
I kind of did a lot in my early days in college. Well, not early days in college, just all throughout college.
Yeah. So what do you, I guess, plan on taking from the experience that you're getting from working with this job? Do you plan on just continuing doing that?
I do plan on continuing to do that, and as soon as I started my job at Memphis, I just kind of like fell in love with it. And I was told myself, I wouldn't mind, staying at Memphis for the rest of my career, as long as I keep moving up, even if it's with different departments I keep moving to. Just as long as I keep moving up, I will be fine with myself. I'll be good to go.
Oh, okay.
So it just, wherever God takes me, whether it be somewhere with athletics or, somewhere different, I'll just be grateful for it. So that's all I think about.
I think I tried to apply for like some sort of job that's kind of similar to like what you do for the University of Alabama. That's where I'm from, is Alabama.
Okay.
And I think they gave me like an email back saying I just didn't make the job, and I was like, dang, that would have been pretty cool. But those jobs, like working for schools, is a great opportunity because you get to meet tons of people, and then your literal job is to be around fun. Like whatever an event is, that's what your job is to do.
Right.
So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Do you let's see? Do you think that you'll be able to go other places with like the experience you have, or is that just something where it's like it's really just helped you out in the Memphis area? So like, let's say if you wanted to go to like Knoxville.
Oh yeah, it definitely will help me out with that. I think it's just with my preference. I was born and raised here in Memphis like my whole entire life. I just became, so accustomed to Memphis. I fell in love with with Memphis, especially after I attended college. It's just, my preference is to actually stay with Memphis. And my boss, she actually worked for the University of Memphis for 30 years, I want to say, that long. So she just been like moving on up within the University of Memphis. So, and then of course some other people in our department too as well. So I actually, as I said before, I wouldn't mind, staying at the University of Memphis, but it would definitely help me out if I wanted to go, someplace else, if I decide that in the future.
Do people ever like talk to you about that, like other places? Because some jobs they'll, if you're doing well, people might want you to. They'll try to steal you away. Have you ever had any like people try to pick you up or anything?
Not really. Maybe like in the statewide area they have, but it was just due to due to the timing, it just wasn't right for me. So yeah, I think it's a little bit of that right there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Memphis is. I think it's a really nice size for me because I like big cities, but not too big.
That's me right there.
Yeah, like I've been to Los Angeles, and I was like, this is cool and all, but to visit.
Right. I think that's going to be me when I go to New York this weekend, because I know that's one of the biggest cities in the world, basically. So
and
I know
never been.
This will be my first time going. So I know I'm going to be overwhelmed as soon as I step foot down at the airport. So I know I'm just going to be like, oh my God, when I get down. But thankfully I have one of my friends that's up there, so he'll show me around a little bit whenever I get done with New York Comic-Con stuff during the day, and so we'll hang out during the night, and then he'll basically show me around. So.
Oh, okay. Did you have like a set schedule, or do they just have like an open?
It's kind of set when I go up there, because just during the day I'll be at New York Comic-Con all day, so that's from like 10 to 5 or 10 to 7 p.m. I want to say. And then after that, just kind of do whatever I want after that.
Oh, okay. So what do you do at the Comic-Con? Is it just like a meet and greet, or is it?
It's a lot of things that goes on at Comic-Con, and then especially with New York, that's one of the biggest Comic-Cons here in this country, or possibly in the world. So I know there's going to be a ton more stuff to do. Of course, they have their meet and greets with celebrities that they have up there this year. They have cosplay contests where you can just see win the prize if you have the best, costume at the whole Comic-Con. What
defines you as like the best costume? Do you just have to like look extremely similar to the real thing or something?
It depends on the judges. So I can't say. I think it is what you say. In my opinion, I think it is how similar you look to the actual character.
Oh.
So that's what I think about it. But you have cosplay contests, they have games, panels. It's just a bunch of things that they have going on at New York Comic-Con. So I know I won't be able to do all the things, but I'll try to do as much as I can. I know I want to try to get photo ops with some celebrities up there. I know they have the two biggest celebrities up there are Tom Hiddleston and Paul Rudd. And
nice.
Tom Hiddleston, he's mostly known right now for playing Loki in the Marvel films.
Okay.
And then Paul Rudd, he's known now for playing Ant-Man in the Marvel films.
Yeah.
But some people might recognize Paul Rudd from like Anchorman or Friends or Clueless. I think those are probably his most notable roles that I can think of right now. And then of course, they have like some smaller guests. They have, I want to get at least a picture or a video with Tom Kenny. He's the voice of SpongeBob SquarePants. So I was like, okay, I have to get a picture or a video with him, because he's been part of my entire life basically. And then I also have more Power Rangers up there as well too. So they have, I know they have Karen Ashley up there. She was the second Yellow Ranger, first African American female Ranger on the show. Who else would they have? Her character's name was Aisha, so people don't remember her.
Now, which Power Ranger was that?
She was a part of the Mighty Morphin franchise.
Okay.
She came after 3 of the original Rangers left, and they were replaced by Aisha and 2 other characters as well.
Okay. So I remember, Jason, the red one, and then Tommy was the green one.
And I met him this past year too.
Wait a minute, was Tommy the green and white?
Tommy was green and white.
What was the story behind that? I don't even remember.
I think when he was first introduced, he was introduced as a bad guy.
Yeah.
And so
the White Ranger was supposed to be, or no, was it the green one?
The green one was supposed to be good, but then he turned, he was bad, but then he turned good after that. And then I think...
I remember he had that flute.
Right, yeah. And so I think they decided to change his color after one season, change it to white.
They just snuck that in there.
I think there's like a whole storyline with that because I can't remember exactly, but
I don't remember.
Well, yeah, he's been in that franchise for so long, and he's still, involved with the Power Rangers to this day. So I actually got to meet him this past year at MegaCon in Orlando. There were other Power Rangers too. I met Jason David Frank, who played Tommy, Karen Ashley, who played Aisha, the second Yellow Ranger, and then I met Nakia Burris, who played Tanya, who was the third Yellow Ranger, who was right after Aisha. So she was in Power Rangers Zeo and Power Rangers Turbo, if I remember correctly.
I remember Turbo.
Yeah. So she was the Yellow Ranger.
I can't remember that movie.
Yeah.
I went to go see that movie in theaters.
So I remember meeting them. I was like, I could barely talk at that point when I first saw them, because I was just walking out of my own business, just looking around, and then I see a familiar face right next to me, and I was like, wait a minute, aren't you Tanya from the Power Rangers? You're here? And I didn't know about that. So, and we actually had like a long conversation when I went to her booth. Her and Karen Ashley, we both had a long conversation. They were basically probably the nicest people that I ever met, especially Karen Ashley, because she's so much like her character Aisha in Power Rangers. She was like, bubbly, very energetic. She still has that same voice too, so it just instantly brought me back to my childhood. So they were a few of the Power Rangers that I met, and then some more at New York Comic Con would be the guy who played Rocky, the red Mighty Morphin Power Ranger after Jason left. Steve Cardenas, I know I'm saying his last name wrong. He will be up there, and I think Jason, the original Red Ranger, will be up there too. I think I saw that correctly. Austin St. John. So I know I want to meet him as well, and then Kimberly, Amy Jo Johnson, she will be up there as well too. So it's just like, okay, now I'm just going to be wasting money at this point, because I definitely want to meet all these people.
Yeah. So Kimberly was the first pink one.
Yeah, she was the very first Pink Ranger.
Okay. Yeah. Was she was like, it was Jason. Okay. So Jason, was there a yellow one in the first one?
Yeah. So the 5 original Rangers were Jason, Billy, Zach, Kimberly, and Trini. The actress, I can never say her name right, but she actually passed away.
That's right.
In a car accident back in 2001 or 2, I believe. So that's fortunate news, but I think those were the original 5 Rangers, and then Tommy came into the mix, just a little bit. So I consider him as an OG Ranger. I think some people don't, but he's been in the franchise for so long. He's actually the longest running Ranger. It's just like, you might as well consider him as an OG.
Does he still do stuff?
He actually does still do stuff with the Power Rangers.
Oh my God!
So they actually had, I think it was their 25th anniversary last year, or was it this year maybe? But actually it probably was their 20th. Where they had like a bunch of veteran Power Rangers come in, and of course Tommy was there as well too. He's always like, the lead ranger when it comes to people coming back together. So he's always taking lead on that, because he's probably he is the most popular Ranger, and he is the longest running Power Ranger as well too. So he still does stuff with the Power Rangers a little bit.
Do you know how many different series they've had?
Oh God, it's a bunch. I can't even keep up because they have one currently right now on Nickelodeon called Beast Morphers. I watched a little bit of it. I watch it on and off now, but it's a pretty good series. You know, they still kind of have like that same, you know, '90s corny stuff a little bit, which is
Of
good.
course.
I don't mind it at all. But you know, it's still a good show to watch too.
That's wild. Yeah, I think I saw. So you know, I saw the original, and then I remember Turbo. I remember. Gosh, it was like a ninja one.
Ninja Storm.
Ninja Storm.
Yeah.
And then they had one that was kind of like, was it like a space or something?
Power Rangers in space.
That's what they called it? Okay. And then that's about all the ones I really watched.
Yeah.
Well, there was one where they were like, I don't know if it was Ninja Storm or not, but I remember they were in like ninja type outfits, but then I feel like there was another one that was like when they had like an actual dojo that they were always at and stuff
I
like that.
think that one was probably Mystic Force, I want to say.
Okay.
So yeah, so they actually had like a bunch of them in like the 2000s and mid 2000s, then they kind of like slowed down a little bit. But yeah, and then it just recently picked back up in like the 2010s. So they're like still making series to this day.
That's crazy. They're pumping those things out like, God, what's that video game I always make fun of? Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
They pump out Assassin's Creed games like they probably do at least one a year.
Right.
Because, okay, let's see, they had the pyramid one, the like Egyptian one. What the heck was that one? I don't even remember the name of that one, but they had that one, and then they came out with the, it was like the Spartan one, and I was like, y'all just had one. I'm always checking like PlayStation's, the PS Plus stuff, and they're always like coming out with like expansion packs, and they're coming out with bundles, like get these 3 Assassin's Creed games. And it's like, Jesus, they should just have it to where like you can pick which games you want, and then just like pick this bundle of Assassin's Creed. Because there's like I want to say there's at least 12.
Really? Is that much?
Yeah, me and somebody else were like counting them, and I'm pretty sure there's about 12 or maybe 10. I might be exaggerating, but I know there's a good bit of them, and they've been coming out with them for years. They really, I remember they, I felt like they had copied, what was that game? And they also made a movie about it. It was like the Prince of Persia. Remember that one?
Yeah.
Did you
I
ever
don't play video games that much anymore, but I have heard of it.
Yeah, they made a movie out of it, and I think Jake Gyllenhaal was the guy in the movie. The movie was it was kind of weird because I mean it was at a time where like CGI was in a phase, and so that was the main purpose of Prince of Persia. Like, dude could stop time, reverse time, and freaking run up walls and stuff like that. So it was kind of weird, but I think as far as like movies wise and like superheroes, they're kind of getting pretty good at this. Like those movies are on top of everything. Let's see. I think the Avengers movies were topping like did they top Titanic or something like that?
Yeah. So Avengers Endgame, you know, that's currently is now, you know, the biggest selling movie of all time. They passed
Really?
Jurassic World, Titanic, Avatar, which has held that record for 10 plus years now. So yeah, Avengers Endgame is now the #1 movie of all time.
That's
as of
wow.
right now. So yeah, so especially with Infinity War and Endgame, because those movies came a year apart. They just been breaking records ever since they came out.
Jeez.
So that's how you know how big, you know, Marvel Studios has came, because it started with Iron Man in 2008. And so now we're at Avengers Endgame, and it's just like, look how far, you know, they've come.
Yeah.
And I've been following along ever since, so it's just like, wow, it feels like I'm like a part of it at this point right now.
Yeah.
So it was just great to see, you know, how it all started, and then just to see it grow. And it's like I don't think they missed a beat. Of course, there haven't been some movies that haven't been, you know, I won't say underperforming, but it's performed well, just not as well as other movies. But they just haven't missed a beat as of yet right now. And then now they're going into TV shows now with their, of course, with the Disney Plus streaming service coming out later this year. They're coming out with their own TV shows, and of course they're going to have more movies in the future. And then they're just constantly growing. So it's really interesting how we're going to see how they evolve or change years down the line. So it will be interesting to see how that happens.
So what do you talk about on your podcast? Is it just, I know you're called like the Avengers,
right?
But is it just Avengers? Or?
So when we first started out, well, I can't say when we first started out because I wasn't an original member. You usually start off with
you were add-in.
I was an add-in, so yeah, it was just basically those 4 people. So start off with JT, Josh, Darren, and Christian. And normally I came in around the 2nd, 3rd episode as a special guest, and I just kept on, coming back on the show as a guest, and they're just like, we'll just make you a member at this point.
So did you know those guys?
I knew JT. We saw each other at Grizz games a lot because he works with the Grizzlies as a team attendant.
Okay.
So we just always saw each other in passing. I was like, hey, I know who you are. So we just always like waved and talked with each other for a little bit. And then I found out he was a Marvel fan. I was like, hey, you're a Marvel fan? I didn't know. He was like, yeah. And then we actually, saw each other again at the Avengers Endgame premiere this past year. And then I saw Josh and Christian there with him, but I didn't know who they are. But now I do know who they were at that point. And so he asked me to come on the show as a guest because I was like, I need to talk about Avengers Endgame with somebody. I need to talk to somebody because a lot of my friends had seen it yet, so I was like, I need to let some spoilers fly.
That's crazy.
At this point. So he asked me to come on the show. We talked about Avengers Endgame. And so he just kept on asking me, you want to come and do the episode again? I was like, okay, sure, yeah, I have some time. I thought I wouldn't have time, but I did have time to keep doing more episodes. And I think around episode 7 or 8, that's when they added me as an official member of the East Coast Avengers. So we used to talk about all things Marvel, movies, comics, TV, video games. But recently, I think last month, we just decided to expand, let's just not talk about Marvel. I know some people are more interested in DC, some more people are interested in Star Wars or any other type of fandoms or any nerdy things that's going on in this world.
Yeah.
So we just decided to expand on that. So now we talk about Marvel, DC, Star Wars, a lot of other fandoms that's going on in this world. So we try to talk a little bit about everything basically at this point, which is great for us because now we can have more engagement with our listeners and whatnot. So it's great for us.
I noticed that I think Marvel has most of their characters are like just humans. They're like people. You know what I mean? Then they just have superpowers. But DC is all over the place. Like Superman, Alien, what's the Martian? Martian Manhunter. Yeah, Alien. They have people from all over the place.
Right.
And that's why I thought it was interesting because, as you notice, Marvel's movies take off, but DC's does not. And I think it's, again, going back to what I was talking about, the CGI, it's kind of hard to make a great movie about the Flash.
Yeah.
Like a dude that you can barely see running, or Superman who can run fast, fly, laser eyes, X-ray vision, all this stuff. And it's great for comics and cartoons, but for a real life movie, it's kind of what am I really watching?
Yeah, so I know I actually like some of the DC movies. They've been great in my opinion. Some of them have just kind of been a miss. But I feel like with the recent movies that came out with Wonder Woman, Shazam, and Aquaman, they did pretty well. So I think they're getting, step in the right direction when it comes to making their movies. And so now we have Joker that's coming out this weekend with Joaquin Phoenix playing the Joker. So I'm really, really excited to see that movie.
Okay.
And then of course they actually released a Birds of Prey trailer. Birds of Prey that's it mainly focuses on Harley Quinn. Have you seen Suicide Squad?
I actually haven't seen that. I've heard it's a great movie, but I haven't seen it.
So it mainly focuses on Harley Quinn, but we actually have like some other, DC female characters in there, like Huntress, Black Canary. Who else is in there? I can't think of them at the top of my head, but I think it's about 3 or 4 characters that are also headlining the movie with Harley Quinn. So it'll be. I saw a trailer today. I thought it was a really great, fun trailer. So I'm excited to see this movie when it comes out.
Are they keeping the same? God, what is her name for Harley Quinn?
Margot Robbie. Yeah, she's still.
They're keeping her.
Yeah, so she was one of the
smart move.
she was one of the biggest things in Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Like all the attention was like on her, and she plays the character so well.
Yeah.
So yeah, like you said, it's a smart move to keep her. And Margot Robbie loves Harley Quinn too, because she actually had some say of what should go on in Birds of Prey.
Really?
So that just tells how much she loves that character. She loves that character like deep down in her heart. So
She's
and
like
a lot of these actors love their characters that they play, where they actually actually get to have a say in what happens with that character.
Yeah. That's how it was with what's his name in Deadpool.
Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, he said that he was like a huge Deadpool fan since he was a kid, and he was like that was his dream job was to be Deadpool. So
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. Like to be able to love a character as you're a kid and then grow up and be that character.
Right. Yeah, and that's really, really rare. The only person that I can think of is Michael Chiklis, who played the Thing in the 2 Fantastic Four movies. And I seen him in an interview saying like, I grew up, watching Fantastic Four. The Thing was my favorite character. And then just to see him play, the Thing, and he played it very well too.
Yeah.
It was just, it's just really, really great to see that happen for him.
What did you think about Black Panther as far as compared to the rest of the movies?
It's definitely like in the top 10 movies for me. When I'm ranking my favorite MCU films, it's probably like number 5 in my book. That movie has just been, so culturally impacted when it just first came out. Not even when the movie came out, when like that first trailer came out, everybody has just been talking about it. And that's actually one of, I think it was Bob Iger, who is the CEO of Walt Disney Studios, I believe. He actually said, Black Panther and Captain Marvel are his favorite MCU films because of its cultural impact that it had especially with Black Panther, what it had with black people in general. We see, black people, taking so much pride in that when that movie first came out.
Yeah.
And a lot of people did not know who Black Panther was.
Yeah.
And so just to see, a black, character who is like a superhero. He's a king of his own nation. He was a star, in Captain America Civil War. He just like basically, stole each scene that he was in. That was just so refreshing to see versus, what black people are seeing in media when it comes to movies. They're either playing like slaves, or they're playing
Gangbangers
and stuff like that. So it was just a refreshing feeling just to see, somebody like us on screen in that type of way.
Yeah.
So it was definitely one of my favorite Marvel movies of all time.
One thing I think is really interesting about Black Panther is that he's, even all of Wakanda, is that they don't, even though he's a superhero, he seems really normal.
Yeah.
And then he just so happens, it's almost like a souped up, not Spider-Man, Batman. Batman's like a normal guy, but he knows all these martial arts, and he just seems like a superhero, like with superpowers. But Black Panther he's almost kind of normal. I mean, he's got the suit, and he can run super fast and do very acrobatic like. So that's one thing I think is pretty cool. Again, going back to like being relatable helps people really like a character because they can like, oh, that's really cool. Like he's Jeff on Monday and Black Hammer, you know what I mean? Like it's being able to do that in movies. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
So with all the knowledge that you have with all the comics and stuff, you gotta want to write something.
I actually kind of did write something. I do fan fiction on the side, you know, just for my own spare time. So I have my fan fiction up on, oh my God, what's the name of that website? Because it's been a while since I've been on it. I have it on fanfiction.net.
So I'm not familiar what that is, but I'm guessing it's where people create their own stories from other real stories.
Yeah.
Okay.
So with my fan fiction, I kind of like created like my own superhero team in the Marvel universe, and I kind of like used myself in the story. I was like one of the main characters. So my fan fiction is called the Vanguard. And it's about with my character. He used to be a member of the Avengers, but his uncle, I actually made my uncle Nick Fury into fan fiction. So Samuel L. Jackson is my uncle in the story. So he thought you know it would be time for him to have his own team. You know, he's still young. You know, he learned a lot from being the Avenger, so he thought it would be great to venture out on his own and have his own superhero team. So he like recruits 3 other members that him and Fury know had superpowers, but the public didn't know. So they're like just regular people just hiding their superpowers. So he picks up those 3 people and recruits them to join his team. And then while that is happening, there's a villain up on the rise who wants to have revenge on my character for something that he did years ago that I didn't know about. So like I shared it with my friends. They said it was good, so I was just like, okay. And so like now, I won't say currently until I get my laptop fixed. I'm kind of like working on the sequel to it as well. So I kind of like have the first chapter written out, but when I get my laptop fixed with his keyboard, I'll continue writing it.
So with the fan fiction, is it just like a kind of like a blog on a website?
I guess you could say it is kind of like a blog because people just upload it, you know, whenever they want to. It's kind of like a blog where like everybody else can read it. So yeah, I guess you could say it is kind of like a blog.
Now, do you just find people? Is it like profiles or something like that you just like find other people's stories? Like
yeah, you can just like search, you know, whatever you're
like if I wanted to find yours, how would I?
So if you want to find mine, you can type in the title of the fan fiction, which is called The Vanguard, or you can just look up my actual name in the search bar, search engine, if you want to find it. So that's how you can find my fan fiction on there.
That's really cool. So do you just have the Vanguard, or do you have like?
It's just that one.
It's just that one.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to branch out, would you like just have multiple ones on like the site or something like that that people can look up?
Yeah. So like, cause I know I want to try to write multiple stories with the Vanguard. So I know I have it all on that same website. So I know one of them. I know the Vanguard is on fanfiction.net. I cannot remember the other site that I put it on because it's more popular than fanfiction.net. So I'll probably have to look it up pretty soon and then try and get the information for people.
Yeah, you can send it to me and I'll put it into the YouTube link.
Okay.
And people can just like look it up and they can check it out.
All right.
Is there? So the other people in the group with you, do they do that as well? They do the fan fiction stuff?
One of them does. He likes to write Spider-Man fan fiction, and so I remember he shared a chapter with me once. And I told him, you know, oh you gotta keep writing this. You know, this is actually like really really good. And I think we're the only 2 people that actually do fan fiction in the group.
Oh, okay. That's a pretty cool thing because sometimes stories don't turn out the way you want them to, or
And
you
you
just yeah.
and you're just like, you know what, I'll make my own story. Right?
Did you watch Game of Thrones?
I actually did not. So
Oh,
I actually wanted to
God.
I know the last season has begun a lot of shit.
Oh man.
Because a lot of my friends watch Game of Thrones. So I follow it on Twitter whenever they tweet about it.
Dude.
So I remember when the last episode came out, I was out of town in Orlando. And so I was like, I hope y'all enjoy y'all little finale tonight because I know how much they hated this season. And so just reading those tweets, I was like, wow, y'all really hate this show. So it's just like, wow.
I think people, honestly, the people who were like truly invested in that show, I think they just hated it because it was over. Like, I don't think they really hated it because it was like the ending. I think they just hated it because it was over.
A lot of people told me was that, they some of the characters didn't deserve the ending that they deserved. The story didn't make sense like that. It was a little bit of that when I read the tweets about it. And so that was a lot of what I saw.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, it could have been just because, it was actually ending.
Yeah. One thing that I thought was interesting about that was people did start kind of like the fan fiction. People started creating their own endings.
Right.
And I was like, this is intense.
And then I actually saw I think it was when the finale aired. There was a petition going online saying I want y'all to redo this. I think that's how much they hated it. And what was so funny was that the Emmys were this 2 weekends ago. Game of Thrones actually won Best Drama TV Show at the Emmys. I was like, I don't know if the fans should be happy or if they should be upset. And then because when they went up there to go accept the award, the writers did not look pleased at all that they won. Because they know they've been getting a lot of negative opinions about the last season about it.
Yeah.
So I thought it was just really, really funny to see.
That's crazy.
So, yeah. And then actually the other website is on, it's called, my fan fiction that is on, it's called Archive of Our Own. So I can,
Archive of Our Own?
Yeah, so I can definitely send you a link to that whenever we're done with this.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, I think it's really interesting how people do those cliffhangers, the ending to a season or the ending to anything, because that's what draws people in. That's what makes them want to continue watching. Mm-hmm. And I mean, if you can do that with your fan fiction, that's going to catch on. People are going to be like, oh, well, what happens next?
Right.
If you can create that what happens next type mentality with your stories, then they're gonna skyrocket.
Right.
Is there anything else that you do with? So you say you do the Comic-Con and then you do the podcast. Is there anything else that you're doing with comics? Are you reading them?
Yeah, of course I'm reading them. It's actually been a while since I've been to a comic book store. It's been over a month, I want to say. Because I know I'm behind on an X-Men storyline right now called House of X and Powers of X. Mm-hmm. That's written by the great Jonathan Hickman. And so I've read the first few issues, and then I got this job and I've just been so busy with it.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I haven't been back to the comic store in a month. I actually need to go back soon because now I'm getting far behind with it, and that storyline is about to end. I think next week or the following week after next. So it's just I need to go back and get this up. And it's so hard to keep up with comics because they either release new issues. Sometimes they do it weekly, but they mostly do it monthly. So there's new issues every month, and there's so many comics out there right now. You're just okay, which one do I want to read? Which one do I want to read? It's just so many out there, you can barely keep up with it.
See, that's when you had said, they're on this issue this way. I'm like, they keep up with it like that? So you said that they usually do it monthly. Mm-hmm. Do they have dates for hey, we'll be done with it at this point, or do you just find out this is? I
think they usually it depends on the writer or writers, they say like, hey, we're going to end this, end this issue at blah, 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 or you just have to like wait until they say like, this is the end right here. So it just all depends on the writer at that point.
Oh, okay. That's crazy. Well, it's been a little while, so
It's all
it's
good,
kind of
man.
late, yeah. So, yeah, thank you for coming on. And
Yeah, thank you for having me. Thank
yeah,
you.
for sure. And tell everybody your podcast again that you've been on, and whatever else you need to plug into.
All right, so I'll plug in our podcast. It's called the East Coast Avengers. You can find us on SoundCloud, Apple Music, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Anchor. You want to follow us on Twitter, it's at East Coast Avengers, but Avengers is without the E, so it will be EASTCOASTABNGRS. So that's our Twitter page, and then we just created an Instagram page last week. It's ECA_podcast, so ECA_PODCAST. And if you want to follow me on social media, if you think I'm interesting, like he did,
Definitely interesting.
you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, Dominic Jamil M. That's DOMINICJERMEALM. That's both my Twitter and Instagram. Facebook, Dominic Middleton is just my name. And Snapchat, you guys are on Snapchat, DJMIDDLETON. Those are all my social media, so if you want to follow me and I'll follow back.
Awesome. Everybody follow him or stop watching my podcast. All right. Thank you for coming on, Dominic. And maybe
you.
might have you on after some crazy movies have happened. And I don't know a lot about comics, but maybe I might get on y'all's podcast or something. I don't know.
Hey, I'm happy to teach you some things.
All right. Thank you everybody for tuning in, and see you next time.
Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in to Romera Records Podcast again. If you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe button. That subscribe button lets me know you're actually paying attention to the podcast, all right? So, click that little red button, subscribe to the channel, like the video that you watch, and also leave a comment. Leaving a comment lets you interact with me. If you have some questions about things that are said, I'll answer them. I promise. It's what I do. It's kind of my job. So, hit subscribe, like, comment. Let's keep it rolling.